Lately, I've been craving nothing but comfort food, and fried chicken has to be one of the ultimate comfort foods. I'm going to show you how I do it, and of course, I'm going to put a little Western twist into it. Now, let's get started on the chicken. We're going to season the chicken with wet and dry seasoning. For the wet ingredients, I'm using my green seasoning, which I've shared before on this channel, and I'll leave the link below. For my dried seasoning, I'm using a combination of garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, ground black pepper, and of course, salt. Now you're gonna get in there with your hands and just give it a good rub. Get into all the places, make sure it's well coated with the seasoning. And the best tools in the kitchen are your hands. Just make sure your hands are washed and cleaned. We're cooking for a family here. It's all love. It's fine. For the chicken, you can let this marinate overnight. At least let it marinate for a couple of hours before frying. Now that it's time to fry the chicken, I'm going to make the seasoned flour, which is going to coat the chicken. And to the flour, I'm adding the same dry ingredients: onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, paprika. I'm adding parsley. I just like that hint of green in the fried chicken. And I'm also adding salt. This is just to give an additional level of flavor. Next, I'm going to give it a good stir just to make sure the seasoning is nicely distributed. And as always, the recipe will be linked below in the description box. The next thing I'm going to do is to make the egg and milk mixture, which I'm also going to dip the chicken in. And to a bowl, I'm whisking 2 eggs. I started with one, but I realized that it just wasn't enough. So I'm going to beat 2 eggs, and to that, I'm going to add milk. And the idea is to dip the chicken into the milk and egg mixture so that the flour, the seasoned flour, is going to stick to the outside. And once that cooks up, it's going to be golden brown and crispy. There are a lot of ways to making delicious fried chicken. I don't make it the same way every single time. You can add cornstarch to the flour that makes the coating extra crispy. You can marinate the chicken in buttermilk. I have a few recipes on the blog and I will leave them linked below as well. Now it's time to coat the chicken, and this is the order that we're going to do it in. You're going to dip it into the flour and shake off all excess flour. You just want it to be a nice thin coat. Then dip it into the egg and milk mixture. Let the excess drip off and then dip it back into the flour. You want to be sure to shake off any excess flour because you do not want a thick, gloopy coating. You want it to be nice and thin. Fried chicken is one of those things that's unique to a lot of different cultures. For example, I live in the South, so I've had Southern fried chicken, which is very good. I've also had Korean fried chicken, which is amazing. And I've had fried chicken, well, Trinidadian KFC, which is really, really good. So it's just the same recipe that's been changed depending on who makes it, and it's all pretty good. Even for us home cooks, everyone has their own spin and their own special way of making these recipes, and there really is no right or wrong. It's fine. It's cooking. It's just make the food that you love. Now that the chicken is coated, it's time to get frying. And for the oil, you want to choose an oil that has a high smoke point, such as peanut oil, canola oil, vegetable oil. You also want to make sure it's an oil that has a neutral flavor. Examples of oils that wouldn't be great for this would be olive oil because it tends to burn pretty fast. And I'm cooking this on a medium heat until it's golden brown on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over. For this sized chicken legs, it took approximately 20 minutes to cook it all the way through to the bone. You want to make sure that the heat is not too low or the chicken will soak up all of that grease because the oil is not hot enough. And you also want to make sure that the oil is not too hot or the heat is not too high, or else the outside is going to cook really fast and it's going to burn and the inside will still be raw. Now I'm removing the chicken from the oil using a fork just because I don't want to carry all that excess oil. I'm just going to let the oil drain off before moving the chicken onto a plate that's lined with paper towel. And the paper towel is going to absorb any excess oil so that the chicken is not sitting in a pool of oil. And you're just going to repeat this process until all of the chicken has been cooked. Now, as always, the recipe will be linked below in the description box, and it leads you over to my blog, jehancancook.com. So be sure to head on over and just take a look around. And there you have it, guys, golden brown, crispy, juicy fried chicken that's also packed full of flavor. And I'm just going to take a bite of it to show you what it's like on the inside. It's nice and crispy on the outside, as you can see. And I'm going to bite into it so that you can see that it's cooked perfectly on the inside. Thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. And if this is your first time here, please be sure to subscribe.